Under the Bridge by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't think that there are many music lovers, and especially guitarists, who don't know this song. I mean, John Frusciante's amazingly subtle and beautiful guitar playing turned this song into a campfire classic for guitarists. Although I would say in a different way than Wonderwall from Oasis. Of course, we all know the famous guitar intro, the beautiful licks and tasty riffs. But there's one chord that very few people talk about in depth. And you'll let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, but for me this chord just completes the song. It adds the missing colors exactly where it was needed. Really, Under the Bridge would not be the same without it. So why is this single chord so important? What does it do? And how can you use it to write your own music? The answer to this question is context, contrast, and expectation. When I just started learning guitar, I never really understood this chord. I liked it, but it always sounded a bit odd. And to be honest, I was not sure what to think about it. And what's most interesting is when you play this chord by itself out of context, it sounds absolutely fine. Nothing special. So what's the big deal? It's just an ordinary E major 7 chord. And to be more specific, what I'm talking about is the last chord of the verse. An E major 7 is a normal E major chord, but with an added major 7th tone. Now forget about sharps and flats for a second. Just count up 7 tones. E, F, G, A, B, C, D. The D would be a minor 7. And the D sharp is a major 7th. Add this interval to our E major chord and there you go. E major 7. So why does this E major 7 sound so good in Under the Bridge? Well, everything has to do with context and contrast. This is the basic verse chord progression from Under the Bridge. Sounds familiar? I'm sure it does, because this chord progression is used in countless other pop songs. And it doesn't ask much of your attention, but it gives the singer great freedom to tell a story or to come up with melodies. Now we've arrived at my first point, which is context. You can compare this chord progression to being in an exhibition hall, where you see all kinds of nice and similar paintings. All of them sort of go together, and then you have this one. This is our E major 7 chord. It's needless to say that this last one caught your attention, right? Well, this is exactly the contrast part that I was talking about. All of the chords are just normal chords in an everyday chord progression. But at the end, we have a different one, the E major 7. And I hear you think, yeah, it's just one chord. How special could it be? Well, I'll show you how silly it sounds when you play a regular E major chord at the end instead. Did you notice the difference? There's no contrast and absolutely no tension at the end. The song might as well just end here because it's super boring. It doesn't create any expectations, and this is exactly my point. Because the E major 7, it does create expectations. So what makes this E major 7 so beautiful and stand out? Is it only because of that added major 7th tone? Yes, definitely. The notes in E major, E, G sharp and B sound consonant together. But this added D sharp creates friction. Just listen. If you play E and D sharp together, it sounds unstable. It wants to resolve half a step upwards to the octave, to the E. The fact that the chord is relatively unstable and that the musical flow seems to slow down and that it lasts twice as long all creates tension and expectation. It raises the question, what comes next? Context, contrast, and expectation. It's important to think about these 3 things when it comes to writing your own music. For example, if your song only has 2 chords or maybe a very simple melody, then each small change that you make will feel and sound like a big one. If this video is interesting and if you feel that you learned something, then help me out by sharing this video with other music lovers and by liking it. Also, don't forget to check out the links in the description to the best books on composing, songwriting and music theory for if you want to learn more. Stay creative and stay inspired. And for now, see you next time.